Well, this morning we're going to be looking at this Canopy style boxwood. It's the first week in April, and well, coming out of, well, they don't go dormant because they're evergreen, but after the rest of the night during the winter, it looks like it's quite happy. So it got all these tremendous growth. The original size and shape was down in here. So if you're the patient type, what you want to do is to remove this, right? But you can see that this will take a long time, right? So I'll show you Hero's method. If you go from what I was using to something like this, you could speed things along. Now, this is not the finish, but this is the first round. But even this is somewhat slow, so let's go with our mechanical. So this is not the finished product, but I'm going to hurry it up and get to the actual pruning part. Now, if you only have one or two, you don't need to invest in anything like this, but I have 100 of them. Some are quite large, and then especially the Milwaukee type, the garden variety, it needs help. So that's why I have a lot of these that will speed things along. Now you go back to the original shears and clean them up. Well, the problem with the mechanical thing, it leaves these half-cut leaves, and you don't want that on the finished product. So now that we go through something like this, and some of this that got missed will go like that. Now, this too is not the finished product. You end up cutting the leaves, and we don't want indication that we took shortcuts by looking at the half-cut leaves. So now that we have the shape we want to get rid of all indication that we used a mechanical head shear. So if you see any cut leaves, make sure you get rid of it. See? So you can see how tedious this could be, right? Especially if it's ready for a show, or in my case, somebody's bought it and going to pick it up, then I'll take this method and make sure. So what happens with the head shear is it goes like that. Well, that's a better, see these cut. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that it gets cut like that, so you don't see any leaves that are cut. That's why it gets very tedious. And this is not even a large one, like the Milwaukee variety. They're huge, right? This will be maybe one of the smaller branches, and then you got about a dozen. Then plus, I still have almost 8 or 9 of them, right? So yes, you do have to come up with a little more shortcuts. Okay, now this underside, Well, there's a couple different approaches to this. You know, maybe we'll have some that's hanging, or do I want to go straight across? Well, because the top is so perfect, I thought maybe we should keep some that breaks up the sameness. You notice that this is my drive-through. See? Well, this was made a long time ago. And it was one of my old ones because you cannot put a drive-through on a small tree, right? So I made about a half a dozen. I think this is my last one. So anyway, yeah, so I gotta get this area, and I think I'm gonna sort of keep with it sort of wavy so that it's not absolutely flat and perfect like this. Okay, once you more or less have everything the way you want, you have to start opening it up so that you could keep getting sunlight in there. If you don't, see, these are turning color because you can't get enough sunlight. So this is the tricky part. You got what you want, but you have to thin it out so that you get sunlight in. But if you're not careful or you take off a big branch, you end up with a bald spot. Okay, well, that's not a big deal because it'll grow back, but that's not what we want to do. Is we want to keep it looking like the finished, the exterior is about what we want. But when we're now pruning for longevity or long-term health, and that's, see all this that has turned brown, that's because lack of sunlight. And you know, there's a lot of box leaf hedges and or other kind of hedges that's constantly being taken out because it gets so dead in the center. Well, theoretically, you could keep these hedges going for generations. And if you want to know how, look at what they do in Europe and Japan. They've got this so that they don't just use the hedge shear year after year without tending to the overall health. See? See how it's turning brown inside? But I think I'm still good. I don't have like a really big bald spot. You could see a little bit more light in here, but that's not going to be all that noticeable in the next growth cycle. So what you got to do is to go in and remove. Oh, we do this on other plants too, but boxwoods are absolutely necessary. Go in and take out, and then make sure you didn't get a bald spot. Well, it's been a while. I think I'm getting to the point where we could kind of see, but not so open that there'll be a big bald spot. Those of you that have been following me for a long time, this originally was an informal upright. And then when I made the conversion, there was a big bald spot right here because I cut off the main trunk. It took another year for it to heal over, but that's what happens. A lot of times we just decided, hey, let's try something totally different. And I think for this drive-through, this was more appropriate because the focus is in the drive-through part, the trunk. But when it was tall, it was hard to decide where your eye's supposed to go. But this one here being just a plain old canopy style, it's easy to focus down there unless everything is growing there that you can't see. Now, in my display area, I do have to kind of set it on a high table so that people could actually see the drive-through part. Those of you that are inspired to do the drive-through, you have your carpentry tools or carving tools. They're meant for dry wood. So I had a great difficulty in drilling and getting that hole because the wood is green. And I did it a long time ago. And eventually I sold off the half a dozen or so, and then I have just this one left. Am I going to do another one? No, I don't think so. Well, one of the risky part is you have to have a big trunk or a big wood, right? That means it's a very old tree, which is equal to very expensive tree, right? And what if you try to make it and then your equipment kind of slips and ruins the whole tree? Well, when I was young, I didn't think that way. But as I mature here, I said, oh, that was not a good idea, was it? Okay, so you more or less get the idea. Yeah, there's probably areas that I missed. But anyway, for this chapter, you know what I'm trying to do. Trying to get open, get the air and sunlight in there so we don't end up like this. This is all lack of sunlight. Yep, still, you can see openness, but it's not a bald spot. I think this is getting close enough. Well, I'm gonna sign off because I could spend another couple hours trying to get this absolutely perfect, but I think it's good enough. And you can see now that it definitely is a drive-through. See, we create things based on our experiences, right? Well, they don't have drive-through trees in Japan, so I don't think they will ever come up with it. And I think it's only a California thing. Well, you can see when you put little cars, it becomes more proportional. From what I gathered from some of the written things about trees, well, they were made for old cars like Model T. And so some of the big SUVs and modern cars don't fit through it. And I think this is a good example on the other side. If you notice, the cars have eyes, right? Well, they're the set from Cars. I'm a huge fan of the movie Cars. In fact, a few years back, we went on Route 66 looking for places that inspire that movie. Anyway, I think I'll sign off for now. So this was the canopy style. And this is the first week of April. And so I got rid of all the new shoots, and then I did try to open it up so that interior gets some sunlight and will not die out. So anyway, this is Hiro saying goodbye. Hopefully I'll see you real soon in another chapter. Thank you for watching.